My God moment story, some of you may know this one, but it's a story of something I went through. So I'd like to share a little bit about that, but then also share kind of three takeaways that were very helpful for me from what happened. But long story short, on October 21st, 2017, I had my 30th class reunion that evening. But before I went, I had a neighbor call me and needed some help lifting some heavy objects. One thing, being raised in a very heavily disciplined military environment, never be bullied and never let others be bullied. Everything's impossible, regardless if it's impossible, that kind of thing. I was kind of always the dumb guy. I probably still am the guy to call if you need help with something that is too heavy to lift or just things that you shouldn't do. I'm the guy. Explosives, rocks, heavy objects, just call me. So the neighbor called and said, I need help with this very heavy object. And of course I said, sure. And so I'm working on it, I'm doing this thing, and really we're understaffed. There's too few people there. And next thing you know, I'm lifting and straining, and we get done. And when we get done, I almost kind of collapsed, but I thought nothing of it. I thought this is another good man pride moment where I could just be proud that I lifted another stupid thing. Well, what happened was I unknowingly had torn the carotid artery in my neck. And so I'm driving up to my class reunion, and in the meantime, my neck is probably bleeding. Of course, I don't know that. And I get to the class reunion, and everything's getting set up, and our classmates were crazy enough to elect me president so many years ago. And so we're getting everything set up, we're getting the registration, everything's getting done, and it's going really well, and we do this every 5 years. And I just finished dinner, and I literally sit back in my chair, and I think, another reunion's done, it's gone well, I'm thankful, now I can actually relax. I go to talk to some classmates, and suddenly I can't talk straight. It seems like I'd probably been at the bar too long. Even though I not had a drop to drink, I was talking like this, and it wasn't coming out right, but it was alarming because I couldn't figure what was going on. Well, long story short, I go to my car to say a prayer because I'm thinking, Lord, I don't know what's going on, but things are not going right. Well, I walked out, and there's so many God moments in that. When I was working on that project earlier in the day, if not for my reunion, I would have likely gone home and gone to bed and died in my sleep. Number two is that because when this carotid artery bleeding happened, a clot went to stop the bleeding. Well, of course, if the clot goes straight to the brain, it kills you immediately. So I could have been done there. But another God moment that happened within this time is that as I'm going to my car to pray, I run into a classmate whose mom had just had a stroke. And I said, Donna, I'm not talking straight. She said, your face is drooping. I think you're having a stroke. Like, oh. And of course, I didn't want to go to the doctor, but eventually I was kind of talked into it. I went to the doctor and got there. My blood pressure was 240 over 180, which is not good. Usually I'm 100 over 70. And as things are going on, this thing is kind of progressing. I'm seeing the doctors, and they're trying to look calm, but I could tell that something's wrong. I'm just kind of sitting there, and it's getting worse. Now I'm losing feeling in my hand. I'm losing feeling in my arm. My neck's burning, and things are really kind of going awry. And so it's certainly a challenging moment. And at that point, we had to decide where to go. It was too windy for Flight for Life. And so literally we had to decide, I was at a very small hospital, and we either had to decide to go to a very short distance to a hospital with less care, so I would arrive alive and possibly die there, or take a longer journey to a Trauma 1 hospital where I might die in the way, but if I did, I'd live. But we spent a lot of time in prayer. But there's a couple of things, and again, I want to share a few takeaways from this that may be helpful for you. One is that as this was going on and things are kind of falling apart, I was just trying to remain in prayer and calm in the moment. And one of the coolest things that happened in this, I kind of went into a panic in terms of, if I'm going to die tonight, who do I need to apologize to? Who do I need to call? Who do I need to text immediately just to say, I'm really sorry? And one of the greatest moments I had on October 21st of 2017 is that there was no one. The thing with me is that everybody in my life knows how much I love them. I remind them and tell them, and that's the key thing. So that's one of my key takeaways, that even I kind of doubled down on that. But also for the very few people that kind of have crossed lines or boundaries, I've just tried to lovingly, with grace, share how it was hurtful. And so it was nice to know in the moment that if I was going to go that day, there was no one left behind that didn't know how I felt about them. The second thing is I was rushed off in an ambulance off to Madison into the hospital, was that years ago, and this is kind of the second thing I want to bring forward, is that I'd heard from Jill Briscoe. I don't know if you guys know Stuart and Jill Briscoe. Sadly, Stuart passed about 2 weeks ago, but very deep in their faith. And Jill had shared the importance of memorizing verses. Well, another God moment was that in July of 2017, I began memorizing Bible verses. And the neatest thing, and again, I'm going through this whole thing, now I'm in ICU at UW, and I'm going through all this testing. In fact, I went through a test, and they came in and said, we're going to do a test, we're going to shoot hot liquids through the brains of your carotid arteries. There's a 1% chance you're going to die. And again, and that's a good odds, but I always thought, the moment I'm thinking, I was mindful of the 1% that didn't make it. I wasn't probably as worried about me, but I just thought there's that 1%. And so as I went into this testing, the greatest moment that I had is and it's a disconcerting when they're shooting hot liquids to your neck, but it was so nice to be able to tap into these verses that I remembered. They were calming, they were reminding. So literally I could take my mind off the event, and even to this day I do that, and I'll share more about that in a moment. The third thing that is of interesting, this is more on a lighter note, is I had texted Paul, because Paul and I have been working together for 6 years, and I texted Paul 23 hours into this affair, and this is, I quote Paul, I said, "Look, it looks like I might have had a bit of a stroke." And I don't want to make a light, because people have died from strokes, and I've been so thankful, praise God, for what happened. But I'm probably still in this prideful moment of, I've had a bit of a stroke, like I've caught a bit of a cough. In hour 34, I texted you back saying, this is on a Sunday morning now, said I may have to reschedule our Wednesday time together. Like, what an idiot. I'm in ICU, but I'm thinking, you know what, Paul, may not be able to make Wednesday. I got something going on currently, but I just kind of showed you where I was at. So I guess in closing with a story, I think the three things I'd love to share, one is that it's my Bible verses, and I don't want to be preachy or say, go home and do it, but it's been 5 years now, and memorizing those Bible verses have been so critically helpful, not only for me, but they've been helpful for others. They're in a time where someone's going through trouble or they're having issues, I can tap into these Bible verses. I wrote a few down. Galatians 6:9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. Matthew 7:1-2, do not judge or you too will be judged. So it always reminds me of not to judge, the kindness issue. 1 John 5:14-15, which says, well, this is the confidence we have in approaching God, that if we pray everything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, we have what we've asked of him. It's basically saying, instead of praying in Gary's will, I need to pray in God's will. 1 Peter 4:8, love each other deeply, for love covers over a multitude of sins. It's about love. It's always reminding me on love. 1 Peter 5:7, cast your anxieties on him because he cares for you. It always reminds me, if there's any anxieties, give them to God. 3 more, Isaiah 41:10, do not be afraid, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you and carry you with my righteous right hand. Always reminded that God's strength is with me. Psalm 147:3, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. There's been so many times I could share that with someone who's in times of trouble. And finally, Proverbs 23:9, do not speak to fools, for they will scorn your prudent words. That's been helpful in some political discussions, because sometimes you get into discussions where you're like, holy cow, I got to step away. So there's one thing I could just say, Bible verses have been critical. Number 2, it's really kind of doubling down on loving people, because I know in the moment, when I had that moment where I thought there's no one I needed to apologize to, it was so sweet, because there's times where I know I want to respond a certain way, but I think I use a 7-second delay, whereas if someone says something that could be maybe a little bit sharp, I have a response right away, being a stand-up comedian back in the day, but I usually will wait that 7 seconds to find a more winsome and graceful response, and that was immensely helpful. And I think the other thing is, I always say, do the right thing and ask questions later. And then just finally, I think, just on a serious note too, I came into that situation lifting heavy objects with no health issues, low blood pressure, low pulse. So if there's anyone in the room here who likes to exert or lift things, do be mindful, because you can tear your carotid artery. So that's kind of a window into just my God moment and the things that I was able to take from that. So thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it.